The Gravy Train pulling into Minnesota where, Danny Graves, the Twins have lost 5 of their past 7 games, dropping one to the Indians today, 3-1. Now, some of the big names that they were relying on in that lineup, Byron Buxton, Joe Mauer, Eddie Rosario, they're all hitting below the Mendoza line at this point in the season. Are the real Twins starting to show their colors and come back down to earth after a fast start to this season?
Well, I think those guys that you mentioned that are hitting below the Mendoza line, Joe Mauer is going to hit. He's done that his whole career. He's going to finish around 280 to 300, possibly even higher. Not a lot of home runs, but he's going to hit for average. The other 2 guys, Rosario and Buxton, to me, this is who they are. They haven't proven them that they can hit at major league level yet, especially Buxton. He strikes out way too much. He has so much potential. If he can just hit the ball on the ground, he's going to get a ton of hits. Rosario, to me, is more of a defensive outfielder. He's not really this huge offensive threat at the plate. So really, those 2 guys, this is who they are. Joe Mauer is going to hit. But the Twins as a team, we got to remember that they're rebuilding. You know, when you rebuild, you go through 2 or 3 years of pain and suffering, I guess you could say. They got off to a great start. You could say that's fool's gold. They had things going for a week. They had some pretty good pitching, starting pitching. Now this is the Twins. This is who they are, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it with Byron Buxton. This guy has been considered one of the top prospects in Major League Baseball for a couple of years. He's probably the fastest player in the bigs, and his glove certainly plays with all the ground he can cover in the outfield. But, Gravy, at one point this year, he struck out in 17 of his first 29 at-bats. He's hit at the minor league level. He's hit in spring training. But when the games actually count, for some reason, he doesn't produce at all. Is this in his head, or is he just not a good major league hitter?
Well, it's got to be in his head, Tyler. If you can hit at the minor league level as well as he did, you should be able to figure it out by now if you're that good of a player, and which I believe he is. Yes, he's probably the fastest guy in Major League Baseball, but you can't steal first, right?
That's
right.
Got
to get on somehow. And whatever he needs to do, change his game, bunt a little more, just make contact. He has to get out of his head that he's the number 1 prospect in minor league baseball. That prospect stuff should be thrown out the window. When you get to the big leagues, you should never be called a prospect anymore. When you get to the big leagues, now you got to prove something. And he definitely hasn't done that yet. Potential can only go so far, right? How many times do we say this guy has the potential to be so-and-so? Well, this is his 3rd year down to big leagues, and he hasn't done anything. So hopefully he turns it around and finds a way to get on first.
Yeah, that's what the Minnesota Twins need out of Byron Buxton. He and Eddie Rosario, Joe Mauer need to get the bats going. Otherwise, that great start could be all for naught, as they have lost 5 of their last 7 games. For more MLB conversations on the Gravy Train with our 120 closer and commish, please search on your favorite 120 platform.